All right, so hi guys, Brittany Brown here, founder over at Beating Binge Eating, and we have Stefani with us. So Stefani is actually a graduate of our Beating Binge Eating Blueprint, and I am going to be interviewing her today about her journey because it was a really, really incredible one. So Stefani started struggling when she was 8 years old, and 20 years later was able to get to this place of freedom and starting to just live her life fully with our program. And so today I'm going to be asking Stefani questions, how she did it, what's possible, where she's at now, so you can really learn from her journey. So welcome, Stefani. Really happy to have you here.
Thank you. Excited to be here.
Yeah. So excited for this call. So, okay, let's just start. Let's take it back. Let's start with like, what was life like before you came, before that first call with us, before you jumped into the program?
Okay. So before BBEB, food was it was a constant struggle. It was sort of a highlight, or not a highlight, but always at the forefront of my mind. No matter what I was doing, there was always something to do with food, weight, whatever it was. You know, whether I was out to dinner with friends, at a family party, there was always like an undercurrent of anxiety about food. I was probably binging once to twice a month, most recently before the program. Before that, when I was younger, it was probably close to every day. And when I wasn't binging, I was dealing with really strong compulsive eating urges, like fighting the urge to eat probably all day long. And there was a lot of like restricting to make up for the fact that I was also compulsively eating. So it was just like a constant struggle.
Yeah. Got it. Yeah. So a lot of that kind of like diet, or not even diet, but like restrict, control, overeat or binge. And even when you weren't binging, it was still the kind of compulsive thoughts about food, the anxiety and so forth.
Yeah. It was like I was always trying to lose weight. Like that was like my life goal. So it felt like that was my life goal, was like to lose weight. So everything was tracking macros, no matter if I was going out to dinner, I was calculating how many calories I could eat later in the day, and then throughout the week, Monday through Friday, really strict on the macros. Then the weekend would come and it would be like free for all, and it was craziness.
I've been there. I have been there. Yeah. It was very similar for me too, that it was, I call it the roller coaster, really on track or really off track, and good for a few days and a mess for the others. And yeah, I'm so with you. And I know that this dates back to, you had mentioned just before the call, like 8 years old. And so maybe we can talk about that here in a little bit. But what I'd love to talk about is like where you're at now. So you just graduated a few weeks ago. And so Stefani came on one of her last calls, and I just asked her a few questions. And I'm like, okay, we have to do this interview because your insights were just so profound, and you've come such a far way in really a short, 12 weeks, right? So it's been 14 weeks now. So that's like 3.5 months. That's not, that hasn't been that long. And you've just made these huge shifts that have been really solidified your freedom. So yeah, I would love to just hear where you're at now and what life looks like now that you've been through the program.
Okay. Yeah. So I feel like a completely different person. It's hard. It's almost hard to put into words. I feel like I'm just operating from a completely different framework. It's kind of like I've learned like a new language for how to live my life in a sense. So I have so much more freedom and ease around food than I ever thought I could have. It kind of boggles my mind still, that I can wake up, I have a breakfast that feels good. I generally, I work, so I take my lunch to work, and I take my third meal to work, and that's there for me ready to go. But once I get to work, I'm working, and then I'm not like thinking about the lunch that's packed. You know, it used to be that I would pack my lunch and snacks and whatever, and as soon as I sat down at my desk, I'd be like, oh my gosh, I have, you know, a snack there. I gotta eat it. I have, you know, some cashews there. I gotta eat them. You know.
Yeah.
But now it's like I get to work, I get started, and then 3 or 4 hours later, whatever it is, doesn't matter, I start to notice like, oh, I think I'm kind of getting hungry now. And then I eat my lunch and it's great. And then I continue the rest of the day. Same kind of thing. And I mean, I can go out to eat with friends. I don't have to look at the menu 15 times beforehand to make sure that there's something I can eat or something that fits into my day or my diet, whatever diet I'm on that week. I can go to family parties. We celebrated my grandpa's 81st birthday maybe 6 weeks into the program. And that for me was one of like, that's when I sort of knew that something was working, because I was able to be with my family. We ordered pizza, we had cake, whatever it was. And I was able to actually just enjoy being with my family and celebrating my grandpa's birthday without that like undercurrent of stress and like fear. Oh my gosh, I ate a slice of pizza, you know, whatever it was. And I could just enjoy myself. I could be there. I could be present. And that's sort of where I'm at now, on a day-to-day basis, which is really cool.
Yeah, I love that. And then I love like the ripple effect that's happening in your life because of it, you know, like getting to spend time with family and be present with friends. And we were talking before we started the interview, just like about what you're up to in your life and all these different, you know, things you're growing through your career, just all of it. I love the ripple effect of what the freedom from the food and body struggle really does. Cause I don't think we know how consuming it is, but we don't realize how much joy it could steal from other areas of our life until we like go to a party once and we're like, oh my gosh, I wasn't thinking about food all the time and I actually had a good time.
Yeah, I've had so many of those experiences now where I can just be in the moment and be present and have a conversation, and just not be thinking about food. It's like pretty, it's pretty incredible.
Yeah, I love that. So awesome. So while we're talking about food, right? I'd love to hear, I know you had a lot of big takeaways and a lot of shifts through the program, but in the food department, you know, what is one thing that really helped you find freedom as far as either a mindset shift or a tool you use to support you with your way of eating now?
Okay, I think that probably the biggest thing for me, and I posted about this a few times in the Facebook group, and it was always sort of my go-to recommendation because it worked so well for me, was the journaling really it was in my phone. I never really did it, a few times in a notebook, but really in my phone, journaling in the moment of a really strong urge. Whether it was an urge to binge or even just like a compulsive eating, like I think I talked about this on a call, like during a party, I snuck into the bathroom, pulled my phone out and did the journaling questions, you know, asking what my urge voice was saying, what my voice of truth was saying, you know, what beliefs I needed to release. And like just doing that, the act of doing that, the urge was gone. Like I could walk back out of the bathroom, enjoy the time with my friends, and not be like, you know, sneaking sneaking cookies every 5 seconds. So definitely I think that pattern interrupt and sort of like getting to understand the difference between the urge and the urge voice and my truth, and like understanding what my truth actually sounded like. Like before the program, I didn't know how to connect with myself. I didn't know what that voice really was, you know. So yeah, definitely that separation and doing that journaling in the moment was huge for me.
Yeah. Such good nuggets of wisdom. And just for anyone that's watching that's not in our program, so when she's referring to journaling, it's not just like a free write. It's basically we have this whole toolkit for separating from your urge, and there's multiple kind of things to choose from, but it's one of the tools, and it walks you through this process that helps you identify that. This is hard to go into without having the whole background of the brain science, right? But identifying that those urges aren't the true you, and really having you not get so emotionally triggered and kind of wrapped up in the story of the urge, the plotting of the urge, the working against it, the trying to fight it. Like, we know that it's you through the exercise, you learn that it's irrational and there's no reasoning with that part, but you get to choose the part of you that is your truth. And then over time, that truth becomes louder and louder and louder. So yeah, I really, really love that. And I love that. I think a big testament to you is like doing the work. It's not easy in those moments to grab something, and you did it, and you made it work. You went to the bathroom, you did whatever you had to interrupt that. And then you start seeing this happen. So I'm curious, now that you've been doing that for a while, are your urges to binge or compulsively eat, have they gone down drastically?
Oh yeah. Like, drastically is almost an understatement. I mean, they're almost non-existent. Binge urges are like are literally non-existent. Yeah. Totally. Yeah, and then the compulsive eating urges, I would say probably within the last like 2 to 3 weeks, I don't even know that I've had one. I mean, they were definitely slowing down towards the end of the program, and now it's like on the once in a blue moon. But I know exactly how to handle them, like,
Mm-hmm.
not an issue. It's almost like it's not an issue if one even does come up, because I know exactly what to do. um and I also have this sense that if I decide to eat in that moment, it's almost like it's not because of the urge, it's because I've chosen to. It's like the separation has sort of become so natural to me now that it would feel weird to eat because of an urge. Like, I only eat now because I'm choosing to eat, not out of like out of control, somebody else is pushing me to eat kind of thing. I don't know if that makes sense, but
It totally makes sense. It makes sense to me because, it's not just about fighting that moment and not eating. It's the ability to choose whether you're going to eat or not. And for a person who has binge or compulsive eating urges, it feels like there's no choice, right? You just, like, something takes over and you go on autopilot, and the plotting and the planning starts, or sometimes the plotting and the planning doesn't start, and you're just like elbow deep in a bag of who knows what by the end of it, before you know what happened. And so what you're talking about, for anyone that doesn't understand the word separation, is knowing that urge, that compulsion, is separate from the true you. So if you choose to eat, your choices now are coming from you versus just this knee-jerk reaction to follow an urge. And I think it's incredible that the urges are pretty much non-existent for binging, and non-existent-ish for eating, which is just or compulsive eating, not all eating, disclaimer. Yeah, so that's just so incredible. And one thing I want to highlight is, like, in nowhere of what you shared is the fact that you're saying you're willpowering your way to get through the urge, willpowering your way to eat the healthy food. You're talking about, like, free will and choice that you have now. And I think that's another thing. When people hear these tools to stop binging, they treat them like a diet, or they treat them like control and white knuckle your way through this binge urge. And like, no, you're actually just stepping into your truth and really connecting with the part of you that knows how to eat. And you're not doing this with a bunch of, like, white knuckled force that feels like a diet. So yeah, just so incredible. Thank you for sharing all these. So I'm curious, I know you had a lot of shifts with relationship with your body, or just things in your life. It doesn't have to be body related, because I know for you, it's just like a deep internal shift that you've seen kind of ripple out with the way that you approach so many things. So any shift, any tool, anything that you really loved that you use that has allowed you to grow in some other areas as well?
oh my gosh, there are so many things, so many different shifts. I think I think that the concept of connecting to my body, trusting my body, has sort of, like, you know, before the program, I would hear that idea, like, oh, listen to your body, trust your body. I did not, like, I didn't know what that meant. You know, like, people would say that, oh, tune into your body. I had absolutely no concept. Like, it sounded great. Like, okay, sure. Like, I'd love to. You know, it sounded like a really good idea, but I just didn't even have a starting point for even doing that. And that is something that has been really, really huge for me. Like I have, it's really hard to describe. Like, I have this sort of sense of the energy that's running through me. I have this this connection to my body that I didn't even know was possible. You know, I can sort of sense what it needs, like, more and more. It was a slow sort of transition over time, but and this idea of kindness and love and honoring, like I've really, I think I said it before, it's like I've developed a new language, or I've learned a new language with just how to approach my body, but it's also spanned out into so many other areas of just how I'm living. Like, this idea of being gentle with myself, this idea of honoring my body and honoring that truth voice that comes up. So I don't know if I'm kind of rambling, but I think really just, it's like cutting through all of the sort of like conditioned fears, cutting through all of the fear, the shoulds, the I should look like this, I should do this, and actually getting to be able to hear that inner voice, for me, has just been incredible, really incredible.
I love that. I so love that. That's really, really juicy and good. And yeah, I'm with you. I think it's so easy. You know, I talk about the little like body love Instagram memes a lot, and I post them, so I'm not knocking them. You know, I think that I think that the message behind them is great. And I always have the disclaimer of like, please don't feel bad if you don't know how to access this, because it's hard to go from not liking what you see in the mirror to all of a sudden I'm loving and caring for my body. And, you know, there's a shift, there's a transition that must take place. And you're right. It's just like learning a new language. You know, if you learn Spanish today, you don't all of a sudden know Spanish. You have to practice a little bit. And then before you know it, it gets easier. So I really, really love that analogy, and love like how much you've shifted in such a short span of time. Is so powerful. So cool. So I have so many questions I could ask. You know, I think the one I'll ask is, you know, I know you've tried a lot of different things in the past. This has been going on, you know, 20-ish years, and everything from dieting to getting help to just all of it. What made this different? Like, what made this process different? What made the way you showed up to this process different? That had this really be the word that I think of when you're talking is embodied. You're not just like operating from this place of, oh, I know I need to do this. It's literally a part of you. So embodiment is like, if we're talking about stages of transformation, embodiment is like up there with mastery. You know, it's like, it's a part of who you are. You don't have to think about it. That's really incredible. So, you know, what happened? What's been different? Like, what allowed this to take place?
All right. So I think there are a couple things, but I think that probably the biggest thing was really just how comprehensive the program is. I mean, it literally, every single fear that came up, every single question that I had, there was an answer. Like, there was something to address that fear, something to address that question. And it was like my own questions and fears that I didn't even think I had came up. And just the fact that you and the team have been there and know exactly, like literally exactly what we're all going through, and to feel heard, with the support, even to feel, even like watching the modules, it was like you were speaking directly to me, like to my specific situation, because like I said, like you've been there. And so I think that was the biggest thing for me. It was like, okay, before starting the program, I tried therapy. I read a lot of like self-help books or self-improvement books, which I love. I still love to read them. I probably will my whole life. But nothing really, like nothing I got into really, or no one really understood what the real root of the issue was. And to have that addressed throughout the program and throughout the entirety of the program, I think was the biggest thing for me. The structure of it, the support that you receive, I mean, like unbelievable, whether it's the calls, whether it's the Facebook group, anytime that you're feeling like you're stuck or afraid, you could hop on the Facebook group. Somebody is going to, even just the act of posting, but somebody is going to send you love. Somebody is going to say, yes, I've been there, but you can get past that, whatever it is. It was just like completely, the whole program just lifts you up. And that was huge for me. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. That warms my heart. And I love that you felt so supported. That's one of our biggest priorities in it, is the feeling supported. And when I built the program, I don't always share this little secret. Well, it's not a secret anymore if I say it here, but I built it live. I had the program created already, but the first time women ran through it, I readjusted the modules based on what was coming up for them, because I'd already coached, probably low thousands of women or men in different health coaching capacities at that point. And also led hundreds of women through the struggle of binge and emotional eating, but still wanted to adapt the program, like kind of have the program live and breathe with like what fears and things come up when you're in it, right? And we've revised it since and added things since and all of that. But I think that's why it has the feel. You can almost like feel the like inner depths of the knowing of what's happening through the process, right? Because if 5 fears came up for someone in module 1, I'm addressing those in module 2. And if 20 fears came up in module 2, we're addressing those in module 3. So it's all, it's all kind of woven together. So I love that you felt that when you were in the program, and then felt the support. That just makes me so happy. So thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, well, thank you. I mean, thank you.
Yeah. Totally. You're very welcome. Yeah, it's been a journey for sure. So, okay. So what else? I have all these questions written down, but of course I'm always just, going off on my own things. I'll have 2 more for you. So the last thing is like, it's really scary when you're looking for help. You know what I mean? When you're at that point of, the point that the amount of pain someone has to be in to stumble upon us on the internet and book a call it's very admirable that you and anyone would even consider doing that. You know what I mean? There's all this stuff online. And I know that the women who do feel a polar connection to us because of all the stuff that we put out there to help and contribute. And I'm just, any messages to those women who are, just out there struggling, looking for answers. Maybe probably been on our email list for a year, wondering if they should book the call. And by the way, the call doesn't mean that you have to sign into the program. It's really just a support call to kind of see what's going on for you and, see what is the best solution for you to get to the other side. But yeah, any words of wisdom to anyone who's there?
Well, first I just want to say I was one of those people.
Okay.
on the email list for at least a year. Yeah. And so I think the biggest thing that I would say about that, and I think I might have mentioned this on either my last call or in the Facebook group, my last post, is like that little voice that has you searching, that has you looking, that has you sign up just for the email list. Like that is the truth voice. Like that is your voice of truth. That is, you know, oh gosh, I have so many words running through my head. But like that little voice that knows that there is more to life than obsessing over food, that there is more to life than losing weight, that there's more to life than feeling completely out of control, you know, around food. Like listen to that little voice. Because it's possible. And for me, like that little voice, that is what sort of grew all along throughout the process. And it feels so much better. Like I can barely even describe, like, to sort of live from that voice versus that out of control, something's wrong, craziness that was before. So I think that is probably, I mean, just schedule, it's like just schedule a call, just see what it's like, see how you feel, and listen to that little voice.
I love that. Listen to the little voice. Okay. Yeah. It's the voice of truth, you know, and I think we all have it, and we all have so much internal wisdom that knows what to do, how to eat, how to live, who is the best coach or mentor for our next step of our journey. What is the best book that just kind of like randomly the name comes into your experience, right? You know, we all have that little voice. And I think strengthening the muscle of listening to it is really, really important. So that's such a beautiful message. So amazing, Stefani. This has been so incredible. Anything else to say, add, anything you want to share before we sign off for the day? And it's okay if you don't have anything, but I just wanted to check in with you before we do.
Trying to think, do I have any? I think probably the biggest thing is that I just want to say thank you again.
Oh,
it really, this has been one of the best things I think I could have ever done for myself, was to sign up for this program and to go through it, because I feel like I have a completely different foundation to sort of build my future on. And, you know, it's a foundation of loving myself, of being kind to myself, being gentle with myself, knowing myself, knowing my truth. I mean, I can't even, it's like, there are no words for it, really. It's just such a different way of experiencing life. And it's an incredible way of experiencing life. So thank you for creating this program and doing what you do.
You're welcome, and thank you. I've received. I so appreciate that. I really, really do. And it's just like, it's so magical to watch it unfold, and then have someone like you come in and just pour your heart into it, really show up and just get what you need and show up for yourself, and also show up for others and contribute, and just create this like ripple effect of healing in your own life and then with others, and then just be this like inspiration to come. So thank you for everything, for sharing your story, for saying all of that. It really warms my heart. And this has been an absolute pleasure. So thank you, Stefani.
Thank you, Brittany.
Awesome.